Hello, greetings. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know where everyone is in the world, but I like to cover all the bases.
That's right. We are a global community here.
Oh,
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night, as Jim Carrey says in the Truman
good.
Show. I'm a fan
Very
of that
good.
one.
Very
Yes,
good.
yes, a little movie callback moment for you early aughtsers. So Renee, I'm really excited to chat with you. And before we jump into Q&A, you're going to take us through and set the stage a little bit, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would love to just set the context of what this is all about, owning your journey and leveling up along the way. So I've condensed what usually is about a 30-minute talk into a quick 10, 15 minutes
Bless
to
you.
give
Thank you.
everyone some highlights. So I am going to hopefully successfully share my screen because technology is going to work today. Let's do
Okay, let
that.
me just make sure you're a co-host. If we can have our team in the background, make sure Renee is a co-host so that she can share a screen. And folks, know that you can ask questions. So if things are coming up for you during Renee's presentation, please do drop those in the chat and we will try to get to that as we go through. So if I could get I don't think I can, but if I get my Power to Fly team to make Renee a co-host for me. There we go. Thank you. Oh,
Oh,
it was there and then it was gone. And we're back. Okay, cool. I'll pass
and
it over
we're
to you to
back.
Renee. Thank you.
Okay. Excellent. So thank you so much again, Hunter. Welcome, everyone. I greet you with so much joy and peace wherever you are in this world. And first of all, happy Black History Month to all of my United States people who are representing and celebrating this month. So first of all, I always like to tell people, connect with me, please. If anything that I say triggered a memory, a thought, a action, anything, please connect with me across all these places, especially LinkedIn. So let's go into owning your journey. What does it mean to own your journey? This is coming from a place of, again, joy, because this is something that I myself, as a career pivoter, several times over, have had to understand and really internalize the importance of owning my own journey along the way. And so this depiction, which is actually used to describe the design process. So by trade right now, I am a user experience design researcher, manager, a mouthful, in the design space. And this is what's used in the industry to describe the design process by Damien Newman, who was a designer. But I like to actually use this as an illustration to describe what my career journey has been like. Ups and downs, zigs and zags, a little cluttery in the beginning, some clearing. But the beautiful part of this and the big takeaway is that it's one continuous line. It is a continuous line that has these zigzags, hills and valleys, but it is my journey along the way. So I am a visual person. So hopefully you receive that, or those who are visual learners understand the importance of really understanding that sometimes your journey is not going to be linear. It's going to have ebbs and flows, zigs and zags, like I said. But the important part is it's your journey, and it's a continuous journey throughout the way. So some key takeaways before we go into Q&A. It is very important for you to take inventory of your skills along the way. Whatever your desire, mission, goal is to explore in your careers, it is important to first always take inventory. What do you have today? This is including hard skills and soft skills. We hear that a lot. And we're hearing a lot more in the industry, the importance of soft skills as well. But the importance here is take inventory of your skills. Very important, because you'll be able to see where you may have gaps in your skills when you are looking for that next career move, that next opportunity. Do this frequently. A lot of times we don't do this until we're looking for the next career, but it's always good to check in. Beginning of the year is always a good time. We're at the end of the year. What skills have you obtained through that time? What new skills have you strengthened? Where are the opportunities and gaps that you need to fill in in order to get to that next opportunity. So again, along your journey, it is important to take inventory of your skills. When I started doing this, I realized that I was a culmination of a lot of different things. And so again, I'm a visual person, work with me, lots of different images here. I started to really envision myself as a Voltron. So I am definitely dating myself here with this. As a old school cartoon fanatic, Voltron predated Transformers, if you will. So think of these individual people coming together to join one mega powerful force. And that's what I realized my skills really were about. I was obtaining skills in different parts of my journey, from different jobs, different careers, that at first I thought stood alone in their own corner. I was a sales professional. I was a project coordinator and a project manager. I was a customer support person as well. And when I realized, when I started my journey into user experience and research, that I really needed to pull all of those skills together because each and every one of those were important. I didn't need to drop something off or forget something and become this new person. The culmination of all these skills made me stand out, allowed me to be an individual along a very crowded space of UX researchers. And I could really tap into the strengths and skills that no one else had as a user researcher. So keeping in mind to bring all of yourself forward along your journey. Take inventory of your skills that you have today, that you had in the past, things that you may not even remembered or thought about, like, you know what? That's actually something, an important skill that I can leverage today in my conquest for the next opportunity or career. So here's an example when I really checked into it with myself and shared it with my community on LinkedIn. And I shared the story of post-graduation being faced with the recession in 2008. And, the economy was pretty hard. Sound familiar? And during this time, I actually became a waitress. Again, with my degree, my 4-year degree, I walked into a restaurant because they were hiring, and I became a waitress. And this was part of my journey. This was after having full-time salary positions, big positions, being a sales manager, and this is what I was faced with. And for a long time, I had deprecated this information. I had hid this information as a part of my journey because I didn't think it was going to be valuable. But you know what? I learned so many important skills along the way that I leverage today. The importance of thinking quick on my feet, the importance of listening very attentively when people are saying things. All of these skills, again, when I took inventory, I was able to carry forward. So if you go to my LinkedIn profile, I will actually you actually see my waitress position because that's part of my journey. I'm owning my journey, telling my story along this zigzag path of mine, right? I'm helping to, that's out of order a little bit, zigzagging and helping to make sure that I'm telling my story and changing the narrative, that it doesn't have to be a linear line. I can own the fact that I've had these, what people may call setbacks, but I look at more as progressions. How was I able to leverage an experience to go to that next level? And that's what the next part of this about. It's about hopping around over here. It's about leveling up along the way on your journey. Again, taking inventory of your skills, owning those skills, seeing where you have those gaps, and then leveling up along the way, no matter where you are in your career journey. Early starter, you may not necessarily start out in the role or the career path that you want to, but it's something that's going to get you going. Learn how to level up where you are along the way. Do not get stuck in, oh, this is not the job that I want. This is not where I want to be. What can you gain from where you are that can help springboard you to the next level? Be very intentional about setting those goals and aspirations of where do you want to level up next and how do you need to go about that? So a couple of resources that have really helped me along the way: growth mindset, really changing the way you think. Leveling up is not just about going to a new position, going to this higher position, making more money. It, it's good, of course. Let's not, let's not, be silly about that. Making more money is great and leveling up, but it is important that you level up your mind and how you think and how you approach your journey and approach your career along the way. So here's a resource around mindset and changing the way you look at things, and really helping you understand the importance of what's yet to come, the power of yet to come, really seeking out, listen, I don't have this yet, but I'm going to make sure I get that skill. I'm going to get that opportunity. What do you not have yet? Again, that growth mindset. Also, one of my favorite people, Carla Harris, a very familiar name in leadership industry, but Carla's Pearls, as she calls it, is such a wealth and depth of information to really encourage people along the career paths of how to make sure we have sponsors, who are the people in the room to help us level up. But she talks about the importance of also building your own board. And what does that mean? It means to have a community of people that that you can go to, that you can ask questions, that can give you good feedback, that can help you level up to that next place. So if you think about a board of an organization of people, it's usually compiled of people who have maybe different skill sets, who can attribute and add different capabilities. And you want people like that in your community to help you level up. Maybe you want to go into a new industry. Who's a person that can be on your board to help you get into a new industry or a new company or learn a new skill set? So it's important on this road of leveling up, again, thinking about changing your mind, and also making sure that you're surrounded with people on your own personal board that can help you and influence you and get you to that next level. So with that, I'm going to close out and go into Q&A and stop sharing. And
well, please don't stop sharing, but you can stop sharing your screen.
Yes.
Renee, that was so great. So we're going to jump into Q&A. We have 15 minutes. Friends, ask questions. If you like, please, we would love to hear from you. I just want to give some highlights to some of your fast pass of a 30-minute into a 10, because that was solid and I was so here for that. Voltron, I feel you. I love the image of the transformer and how we have to like change. I love that you keep now that you have your waitress journey on your LinkedIn. I love that. I love also it's like removing shame from the equation. You didn't say that word. I don't know if that was part of your experience, but for me, there are parts of like that squiggly line that I'm like, oh man, that was rough. I don't know if I want to talk about that, but I love that you do. And I think that's so awesome in like bringing your full self to your career and to your journey and to help others, because like our trials, our tribulations is our experience once it's in the past, right? And our past is how we help people in the present to move forward in leveling up their future. So thank you for doing that. Taking inventories are so solid. I love that. It's so important. You can do it yearly, you can do it daily, you can do it weekly, like whatever. I'm just highlighting I'm doing your 10 minutes in 1 minute because I just have to say this is so good. Leveling up your mind. Come on. Hello. This is so good. The gold, the power of what's yet to come, what you do not have yet. Hello. So let's talk about what we don't have yet. Let's talk about how we're going to get into it. So I also love too that the resource of Carla Harris's Lead to Win, which I think is a great segue into our first question, is how important is community in someone's career journey? So like building our board, that could be your Fab Five if you're part of I'm dating myself a little bit of what that reference is, but
Right.
so So like, how is that? How do we build that community? How important is it? What's like the inner circle and what's that bigger circle? I just threw so much at you. Go
All the
for it.
things. No, all the things. Yeah. So, building a community is so important. You need sounding boards. You need people that can help guide, influence, like I said, and impact along the way. A lot of times, and I had to learn this, we stay in our heads a lot. And so it's important to get out of our heads and build a network and build a community. And so, of course, you can do that on LinkedIn, where you may have a community of professionals in industries and you're connecting to new people. You may have that, like you said, an inner circle, a little bit of a closer community, people that you know that you can reach out to quickly. And then, whether you are working now, you may have coworkers that are within that you can actually bounce off ideas with, depending on where you are in your career journey. If it's something about leveling up within a company, whether it's leveling up outside of a company, there's different ways. But there's so many different ways that you can have and foster your community. And I tell people all the time, you can have different types of circles. You don't have to have one circle, right? You can have people who are like on the outer circle. Like I said, your LinkedIn network could be a full circle of people that could be international as well. You can have a closer circle. You can have really close circles. So don't limit yourself into building those different type of communities, personal, professional, going to the next level in the industry that you're trying to get into, especially if you're a pivoter, it is much easier to be able to pivot into a space when you have connections and have a community already there versus trying to navigate it yourself.
I love that. Yeah, it's so valuable for this idea of multiple circles, and there's going to be a Venn diagram of how some of them overlap and then some people's over here. I love my mom. She's a wonderful human and we have a great relationship, and she's just like, if you just want to call me and just say, Mom, I just need a vent, I'll just listen,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
that has value.
Right, but that may not be the person that you're going to go to when you need that career advice about a specific skill to get
That's
you to
right.
that next level. You have to understand what people's limitations are and build those
Mhm.
communities that where you're going to get what you need. And then, again, that's no fault to mom that mom can't help me get there. She's just doing what she needs to do in that particular community space that you have for her.
Absolutely, right? Because like not one person can do everything for us, and really no one could do anything for us but ourselves, but we can enroll people in being in part of these circles and they can help us, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I love that. So we're getting a bunch of questions in the chat already, which I love. So you've been doing something, Renee. It's happening. It's fired up. It's fired up. So keep those questions coming, friends, because we are going to jump into some of those. And some folks have been sort of alluding to this question, so it might touch on some things. Are there specific skills people should be focusing on along their career journey? Because there's so many different careers out there, but are there some universal skills that you might suggest that folks sort of hone in on?
Yeah, I think a universal skill of presenting and being able to present yourself, your work, storytelling is so fundamental and so important no matter what industry you're in. So really leaning in on how do you connect with people? How are you able to speak about yourself, your accomplishments, your goals, your skills, being able, again, to present your work. So critical in being able to communicate ideas, impact. And so where you may struggle, maybe people who are a little bit more introverted, have a little bit more difficult in speaking in front of people. These are type of skills, and there's different ways that you can learn to present. I use slides and I don't have a lot of words, but it gives me something to anchor on as I'm talking. So there's different ways that you can actually learn the skill sets of presenting. Again, fundamental communication. Like I think that goes hand in hand, right? Having really important communication and people skills. How are you able to articulate the things that you want? How are you able to articulate problems, issues? Those are kind of the fundamental table stakes when it comes to skills. But when you start going into their actual specific careers. I always say careers. I'm very mindful because jobs could be flighting, could be just impulsive, but I'm really intentional about careers. What are you focused on? What is the long term? What are you really investing in? So when you're looking at a career into a particular field, now you want to look at skills that may be transferable. So you may have a skill that doesn't necessarily align perfectly, but it is transferable to that particular industry. Or you definitely have the skill set of that particular industry, and then you have to just fill in gaps into particular places. So again, take inventory of your own skills, but also take inventory of the skills of the career that you desire to be in.
I love that. And I love the synergy that is happening with a previous talk that I got to be a part of yesterday with Andrew Thorne from PwC. Check it out, friends. If you missed yesterday, watch the rewatch link, because what Renee is speaking to, Andrew has this wonderful analogy for the storytelling aspect, right? Because you can throw numbers and years and dates and metrics at people, and I don't know, maybe the finance people, bless you, will remember those things, but me, I remember the story, and a lot of people remember the story and how to craft that story. So I love that you shared that, and please do, friends, check out Andrew's talk as well. So Renee, we have less than 10. So I want to get some of the questions from the chat going. Okay, so I love this question from Ruby as well. And maybe we can open this question up. Who are some of the people you have on your board? And maybe let's expand it to what type of people, I would say, are the folks on your board?
Love this question. Thank you so much, Ruby. So again, in different parts of my career, I've actually changed my board several times. So I may have the people who are on my board, maybe for early career, I'll say 4 years ago. No, my early career started a long time ago. So my board has shifted. So my present board today, I have several executives on my board, people who I could reach out to, VPs who are at higher levels. I have people who are more mentors. And then I also have what Carla talks about, sponsors on my board. So I have mentors who give me guidance, who I can look to for some advice. But then I also have sponsors on my board, people who I know that are going to speak on my behalf in spaces and places where I'm not represented or where I'm not in the room. And those people are really critical because they are going to be able to help, again, tell a story, my story, in spaces where I'm not going to be able to, but I can trust them with advocating for me in those spaces. So VPs, executives, sponsors who are both VPs and not necessarily VPs, and also mentors on my board. Also, the mentors that I have on my board are not necessarily industry mentors. So I have several people who are not even in UX research and design, because I want perspectives that allow me to, again, connect the dots, allow me to keep my mindset, the growth mindset, like I said, what's yet to come? What am I not thinking about that I could get or could understand? And so being able to diversify my board in that way. And of course, as a Black woman, I have an amazing cohort of great Black women leaders on my board.
Oh, I love that. And thank you for shining a light on the difference between mentors and sponsors. We've talked a bit about that over the past couple of days, and it's a really important distinction because sometimes those words get interchangeably said hand in hand, but there is a big difference. And I love what you said, the mentor can be someone that you go for guidance, for advice, and the sponsor is the one that's going to advocate for you. They're going to put themselves on the line. They're going to use some of their line of personal credit on your behalf for your story. And that's so powerful for the folks that do that. And to remember, that's not everybody's role. That's not everyone wants to do that. Maybe a mentor will become a sponsor, but these are relationships that need to be, as you said, fostered, right?
Right. And I'm very grateful to each and every person in the capacity that they hold and are able to provide. I'm not trying to, again, to your point, like the mentors for mentors, I understand their role. They may not be sponsors today, maybe in the future, but I know that I have sponsors. So again, also being mindful of your board's, I won't say limitation, but how they serve you and the purpose, and just being cognizant of that.
Yeah, and your board, because we had Joy Taylor, who's in the sports field earlier, and to use some sports lingo, which I'm very bad at. But all these folks though are on our team, right? Like they're all on our team, they're all rooting for us, and they're helping us in the capacity that they are willing and able to do.
That's it.
Yeah, so we got just a couple of minutes left. Another great question from the audience that I'd love to touch on. What techniques can I use to foster self-confidence and self-resilience when facing challenges?
Ooh.
I know, right?
Okay,
Ouch.
so we don't have that much time, but that's a good one. Okay, so let me start with the first part of that question in terms of fostering self-confidence. A lot of that comes with, again, feeling inadequate to something or someone, a space that you were in, things like that. And this is why I said it's always important to take inventory of self. You probably are not giving yourself enough credit where credit's due, and a lot of things that you are, or the position that you're in. And so understanding like who you are, what you bring to the space that you are in is crucial. And having that as a foundation to stand on, to be able to speak with authority of who you are, what you represent, is part of that confidence. Also, being able to, going back to storytelling, that skill is so important, because having that confidence to understand your own story, who you are, being authentic to yourself, it then translates to be able to showing up and being able to have that confidence. And listen, this is not a light switch. It may not be, you don't necessarily turn it on right away. This is something that happens over time. And I'll also say, get with people that will champion with you. It's hard to sometimes do this by yourself, but if you have people who would champion, be in your corner, who can see that, hey, help to guide you and push you along. As a manager, this is something that I am really, really passionate about with people development, where I make sure I create the space and opportunities for people to step in so that they can then exude that confidence, again, with preparation. But that's because I'm helping to champion them as well.
Oh, I love it. Renee, can you believe it? We're out of time. It was just like, we're out of time, friend. So before we sign off, how can folks stay connected with you, learn more about you? I have a feeling you might mention LinkedIn, just a hunch. But also, I know you got some other stuff going on. So share. We'd love to keep an ear out.
Absolutely. And again, thank you so much to Power to Fly for having me, for the LinkedIn crew. So yes, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Renee Reed, because important, again, build your networks, build your community.
Yes.
You can also make sure that you can help up level your skills as well on the platform. Great space to do all the things that I mentioned. And then of course, listen to my podcast, Tech Rap Queen, found on your favorite podcast platforms, where you can hear about inspirational stories from Black leaders throughout the industry, again, amplifying the excellence that is in design, culture, and tech.
Awesome. Renee, thank you so much for this today. It was such a gift. I hope we get to do it again. Let's do part 2, friends. I'm putting it out in the universe. Shout out to Power to Fly. Bring Renee back, please, because we could go an hour at least.
Absolutely. Thank you all. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Bless.
Thank you.